There's a curious paradox we need to discuss next. The most successful account managers often achieve success by exploiting a changing situation. They recognize that change creates opportunities and they can identify these opportunities. A new senior manager, an aggressive competitor, different customer, different consumer demands, government legislation. These are all examples of changes which occur in most market sectors from time to time, and these changes create opportunities. Highly successful account managers can identify and exploit these opportunities to their advantage. They actively seek out change and they're able and willing to change the way in which they do things. Where's the paradox? Well, most of us don't like change. And the paradox is that the more successful we become, the less likely we want to think about making a change. Why is this? Well, I think it's because as we operate as account managers, or in fact, any management role, certainly at the beginning, we'll naturally look for ways to become more successful. At the beginning, everything's new. We identify things that we can do, or we see others doing. We see them doing things that work, and therefore we adopt these successful approaches, and over time, this becomes our preferred way of working. Of course, if we're not successful, then we'll be forced to find different ways of working. But assuming we're successful, then we're most likely to stick with those things that we now know work. Why would I want to change things when the approach I'm using is working, right? If I change, well, the new approach may not work so well. So change involves doing something different, and this carries risk. The first few times I do anything new, I won't do it as well as I could be because I'm still learning. So almost by definition, when I make a change or I do something new, I'm going to find it more difficult and I'm going to make mistakes. Not many people like that idea, and so few of us, most of us will resist change. Now, you may be asking, if I found a good way to operate, a successful way to operate, why would I ever want to take the risk of changing anyway? And that's certainly the way most of us will respond. The reason is that your market and your industry and your customers are all changing. In most markets today, the only constant is change. This means that the things which are bringing you success today will probably not be the things which bring success tomorrow. The environment will have changed, so you have to change with it. The problem is that most of us don't recognize the change, or more probably, we don't want to recognize the change. You may have heard the story of the frog which leaps out of the bath of boiling water, but will not recognize the need to leave the bath of cool water, which is steadily being heated until it's too late and the water boils. The frog can't detect the steadily increasing temperature of the water, so it doesn't take any action. It doesn't jump out, even though the water eventually boils, and the frog, like frankly many industries, companies, even account managers, well, they won't survive. Let's look at a couple of real examples just to make the point. Whole industries and very large companies have failed because they made the same error. Akron, Ohio, in the United States, used to be the world center for tire manufacturing. And Kodak, well, we all know about Kodak, they used to be the leader in camera film, but neither the tire manufacturers in Akron nor the managers at Kodak could ever envisage a situation where they didn't lead the market. Well, we know how technology has changed and ultimately made them irrelevant. Even though they could see the change happening around them, they chose to ignore it. So we can see that there are two issues here for us. The first is that you have to find opportunities in changing situations in your market and with your customers. You need to recognize the change and then actively work on finding the opportunity. Now, some are obvious. A customer consolidating suppliers or taking out cost is clearly making a change which is going to have an impact on you. In other cases, it may not be quite so obvious. For example, consumer demand for more environmentally friendly products, maybe an aging population, or the increasing labor costs in China may not increase or impact your business directly today, but they're likely to have an impact on your business tomorrow. We're going to look at analyzing the market in more detail in the Strategic Growth Planning series, by the way. For now, I just want you to be aware that you need to actively consider the changing market and the possible opportunities for you. It'll take some effort and it may be difficult, but many successful managers will tell you that it's well worth it. Second issue concerned with change is that you must understand that you must change the way you do things and constantly be looking for new and better ways of working. Again, it's easy to talk about, but much more difficult to do because it requires more effort and more risk. Not everything's going to work the first time. You have to learn new skills, even though you think you know everything already. So a good question to ask yourself is, what new skill, what new knowledge have I learned over the last 6 months? If the answer is nothing, well, then you may want to rethink, because other competitors, account managers, are likely to be learning. And if you do nothing, they may well beat you. If you ignore change, you're most likely to be the loser. But if you embrace change, you're most likely to be the winner. So I'm going to leave you now to think about this idea of change, how it's going to impact you. Make some notes in your workbook and then prepare for your group session.